welcome to WT Tone. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Matchless Laurel Canyon in what they call turquoise. The Laurel Canyon from Matchless is the first 6v6 powered amplifier that they've built. It's called the Laurel Canyon because it evokes tones made popular by bands that came from the Laurel Canyon region of California. These would be bands like Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joni Mitchell. What would we call this, Nick? Alt country, maybe? Adult alternative these days? Classic rock?
Singer-songwriter.
Singer-songwriter?
Ish.
You get the idea. And a lot of those bands back in the late 60s, 70s, they'd be using Fender combos to record their music. Maybe Deluxe Reverbs, that kind of thing. The Laurel Canyon, like I said, uses 6v6 tubes and 12AX7s. And it's a 20 watt amp. So really the first thing that you might think, that sounds, and it's a 112 combo, that sounds a lot like a Fender Deluxe Reverb. But in this video, we're just gonna play it and let you hear what this thing sounds like. And then maybe we'll throw in some examples of a Deluxe Reverb, because we have one. And a Princeton, we have two of those. One from 1965, Nick, vintage. Let's put it in. The other thing about the Laurel Canyon is we have created lots of presets and patches and profiles and captures based on specifically this amp. So if you're a Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, Pod Go player, if you use Fractal, FM3, FM9, Axe-FX3, Kemper, Quad Cortex, when they open that marketplace, we have tone match patches and also profiles and captures of this very amp. All of that available in the links below from Worship Tutorials. So you can get this tone that you're hearing in this video inside your digital modeler of choice. So a few more things about the Laurel Canyon. Like I said, it is 20 watts, but it is really loud. Our combo, and I think a typical combo that you could get from Matchless, features a Celestion G12H30 Heritage speaker. So it's different than the kind of speaker that you might expect to find in like a Deluxe Reverb. If you look across the front panel, the controls go volume, bass, middle, treble, and master. We found that this amp is right. And really, the mid knob acts more like a treble to me. That's how I kind of think about it. If you notice how we have it set for like most of these playing samples, the bass is turned pretty high, mid is up like maybe around noon or a little above, and then treble is turned down quite a ways. Treble almost acts to me more like a cut would on a like a Vox type of an AC30 or something like that. As you turn it up, it just really thins everything out and kind of removes bass. It does get a lot brighter, but I think it's more because you're cutting low frequencies out, whereas the mid-range knob seems to push, you know, it feels like that's where you're getting most of the treble. It's definitely an upper mid, if it's a mid for sure. So this one's kind of interesting to dial in. You can get a lot of really great tones out of it though. It does really good clean tones, like for a pedal platform kind of a thing, but it also sounds really nice when you gain it up. Canyon and a lot of the Matchless stuff that I've played, like, they're very versatile. They have really great sounds in a lot of settings. But if you turn the gain on this thing up, it sounds pretty magical. So we're going to show you what that sounds like now. First, we're going to gain it up to a little over noon. And that's where the amp is really starting to break up. But a lot of warmth and fullness comes into the amp when you turn it up like this. So it does sound really great at these lower gain settings, but man, when you turn it up, it sounds awesome. And then we're going to turn it up maybe like 3/4 of the way up. It sounds really great. We're going to hit it with some gain on the pedals too, so you can hear what that kind of sounds like. And at some point, I'm going to roll back on the volume on the guitar because it does clean up really well. So if you're a little more old school, which is, Laurel Canyon, that's what it's named after, this sort of older style of music. That's how people would play their amps a lot, is gain them up so that when you're at full volume, you've got a lot of breakup in the amp. But if you back the volume off a little bit, or if you have like a Les Paul, you can have your neck pickup be at a lower volume. If you got the 4 controls on a Les Paul, you can kind of hear that you can clean it up. And this amp cleans up really well, which you're going to hear in these playing samples. Strengths of the Laurel Canyon is I think it does act really well as a pedal platform. And so just quickly on this board, you'll see it on the screen. I've got a Brown Protein, an 80s Marshall Guv'nor, which is an awesome pedal. A DD20 Boss, which I recently picked up. I used to have one years ago. Love the DD20. I'm going into a refinery compressor from Fox Pedal. That's the first thing. And then I've got the Astra and the Golden from Universal Audio. I'm going out of the Golden stereo into a Pinstripe Pedals DSO, which is summing the whole signal to mono. So that's a nice thing to be able to do with the DSO if you're going to run into one amp. It's a really great piece of gear to have. Like if you run stereo sometimes and mono sometimes, it makes it really easy to have the full stereo signal and then just flip a switch. Now you've got mono and you don't lose anything going into an amp like this. That's what we've got going pedals wise. It's a simple board. It does a lot. And the Laurel Canyon sounds really good. And I've really not been able to find many things that the Laurel Canyon doesn't sound really good with when it comes to pedals. I'm a big fan of Matchless amps. The SC30, that I've had 94 SC30. That's just a C30 with just a single 112 combo form factor. Is probably my favorite amp that I've ever played. Probably one of the best amps I've ever heard in my life. The Chieftain is great. The Laurel Canyon is great. They're all really different, actually. The three Matchless amps that I have. The C30, which is like the flagship quintessential Matchless sound, that's definitely more Vox inspired. So the Laurel Canyon is a derivation from that in a way that I think sounds really cool. I actually haven't played the two together in stereo. That could be a video for another day. Comment below if you want to see that. I actually would like to see that personally. Here at WT Tone, we just make the videos we want to watch.
I was about to say, you don't want it.
I want it. Let's make it. So that'd be interesting to hear those two in stereo. One thing about Fender type amps, especially like a Deluxe Reverb, they sound really great clean. They've got this nice, big, huge, clean sound. A lot of times it's fairly mid-scooped, which I don't find to be the case with the Laurel Canyon. But if you gain them up or if you hit them with a lot of gain and overdrive, the low end can be kind of really loose and a little out of control. It's not tight and refined. Which I personally prefer. I don't like, some people like that Fender sound when it's gained up and loose on the bottom. I personally don't like it, which is why I'm a Vox AC fan all the way through. But the Laurel Canyon does not do that. So you kind of get some of those Fender flavors, but it feels to me like it handles pedals, especially drive, better, at least more to my liking than like a Deluxe Reverb. So speaking of, we've got a Deluxe Reverb. I have a George Alessandro Rebuilt 65 Deluxe. If you're not familiar with those, George Alessandro is an amp repair tech, amp builder. But he also will take stock Fender amps and completely gut them and rebuild them from the ground up. He does that to, I think you can get Princeton, you can do a Princeton, you can do a Deluxe. He does that with some Marshalls as well. So this is a Deluxe Reverb that's been completely hand rebuilt to 1965 spec. We're going to go into the vibrato channel. This one has his own, George Alessandro also has like a custom-made Eminence speaker that he uses. So we're just going to show you how this amp, the Laurel Canyon, compares to a Deluxe Reverb, just because, you know, that's the bait that we used in the title, and we got to deliver on it. We're all about, we don't do clickbait here. We do legit bait. You're going to get what brought you in. Here are a few samples back to back of these two amps. I'll try and play something similar, but it's not terribly scientific, but you can make your own conclusions. So there you go, the Laurel Canyon from Matchless. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you see here. This is your opportunity. This is your moment of greatness to subscribe, hit the bell, so you can be notified when we upload new content, which we will be doing. There's a lot of gear in here, lots of guitars, lots of amps. We have plans to make lots of content on all of it. We'll see you in the next one.